Deion, we start with some coaching news out of Dallas, and you're not going to be smiling after this one. You've been talking about it for weeks, but they're bidding adieu to Jason Garrett after 9.5 seasons. Garrett's contract was officially going to expire on January 14th. They're not going to renew it. They're not going to extend him, so they're looking for somebody else, whether that's Mike McCarthy, Marvin Lewis, who have both been in the building. Been a weird week there down in Big D. So, Deion, you've been saying for weeks this is not Jason Garrett's fault. So are the Cowboys making a mistake by moving on?
I think it's time to move on. Jason has done a wonderful job, but it's a wrap. It's over. It's done. Jason will go on to coach again somewhere in the NFL, or he'll be a phenomenal college head football coach. We do know that. But a couple of those guys that you aforementioned, I don't think they're getting the job. I just think there's camouflage. I think it's going to be a big fish. It's going to be a whale. It's going to be someone that you didn't fathom. Jerry don't do anything small. Just Texas, baby. We do it big here. It's going to be someone that's going to make you say, wow, I didn't see that coming. That's what I think is going to be here in Dallas. And it's needed.
All right, well, Coach Prime, we'll find out who that could be. Coming up in a few minutes, Ian Rappaport, Jane Slater will fill us in on the Cowboys' next move. But next weekend, let's start focusing. It's never too early to talk about Divisional weekend. It gets started Saturday afternoon on NBC. Vikings and Niners, followed by the Titans and Ravens. So both the one seeds play on Saturday. At late games on CBS. Early game on Sunday, also on CBS. The Texans and Chiefs, that could be a good one. Finishing up, the Seahawks and the Packers on Fox. Speaking of the Seahawks, they just finished up their game in the city of brotherly love. Russell Wilson and the boys 7-1 on the road this year. Zach Ertz did get to go, even though he's been playing with that broken rib. Carson Wentz playing in his first playoff game. Of course, they hung the banner there because of Nick Foles. He's had those injuries, and guess what? The injury bug would bite him again. Looks pretty benign on this hit till you look at the replay. Jadeveon Clowney comes in head first. Wentz would stay in for the rest of this series before heading to the blue tent and eventually into the locker room with a head injury. He would not return. So that means dust off 40-year-old Josh McCown, the oldest player to make his playoff debut. Yeah, anybody have Nick Foles standing by on line two? No, they get to McCown. He's been doing this for 17 years, Deion.
Yep. High school coach with I admire wholeheartedly. Getting there, doing a wonderful job for the kids. But now you're in the big time, baby. It's time to go get this W.
All right, it's 3-3, 90 seconds to go in the half. Russell Wilson hits David Moore, who backtracks, then goes forward and gets a crushing block by DK Metcalf, who had an enormous game. And then who do they turn to? Marshawn Lynch. Speaking of dust guys off, Deion.
It just seems like when he gets close to the goal line, he can smell it, he can feel it, he can taste it, and he wants it.
6 carries, 7 yards, and those 6 points. Seahawks are up 10-3. Third quarter, same score. McCown looking for somebody, but this was a problem all day. Held onto the ball much too long. KJ Wright gets him, so the Eagles had to settle for a field goal. They're down 10-6. Next Seahawks possession. Wilson looking for DK Metcalf. How about the rookie Prime?
Not only the rookie played like a seasoned veteran. They got the matchup they wanted. Great play structure. Great execution of the play. One-on-one, corner was outside, no safety help in the hole, and they took advantage of the situation.
Wilson today was awesome. 18-30 for 325 and that score. So it's 17-9, 6 and change to go in the fourth. 4th and 4, and Doug Peterson's like, we're going for it. Well, he had his guy Miles Sanders, who either dropped it or was too low or a little bit behind him, but got to make that.
You got to catch that.
Yeah.
You got to catch that. You got to make that play. This is the playoffs. You lose and go home. You got to make that play.
So the Eagles get it again, still down by 8, 2nd and 10, and McCown. We got a little PI on Trey Flowers, so the Eagles' drive continues in the red zone, and 4 plays later, it's 4th and 7, and I told you about McCown hanging on to the ball too long. They got him 7 times on this. They just got to throw it up. He did not.
That wasn't hanging on the ball. That was a pass rush that got home. You got to understand, this is the backup. He's not practicing with the ones. He's doing the best that he can.
And how about throwing it up? Wilson does on 3rd and 10 to extend the drive. and finish the game. Metcalf sets a rookie record, 7 snags for 160 receiving yards, most ever by a rookie in the Super Bowl era. Seattle, a winner. They are off to Green Bay next Sunday. And let's start by giving Seattle credit. It's never easy to go on the road and end up winning, and they should make no apologies for who's playing quarterback or who's injured on the Eagles' offense, right? Give some credit here to Seattle.
You got to give a lot of credit to Seattle. Seattle went on the road and got the job done. You could say what you want. Let me tell you something. Russell Wilson made the plays, and that grown man that he had on the outside, Metcalf, my God, was that a wake-up call for America that he's going to be around for a long time? Beast mode, late acquisition added. He paid dividends today. But let me tell you something. Let's not like to address the elephant in the room. Carson Wentz, first, playoff game? And you get hurt, and that what I'm not going to say, hey, man, we saw this coming. No. But come on, staff.
But this is Deion, this is a head injury. This is not an ankle. This isn't a knee. This was Jadeveon Clowney coming in head first. An
injury is an injury, and you didn't prepare for this. This is something that has been happening since college. This ain't just sneak up on us. You had Nick Foles as a safety valve for the last couple of years. You didn't think by any chance that this could possibly happen again. No, it's not a regular injury. And let's not say it was a nasty hit. He went in with the shoulder. If you lean in with the shoulder first, what's the first thing he's going to hit? Your head protrudes away from the shoulder. It was a clean hit. Let's not sit up there and play like it was a dirty hit. I hate that it happened because I love good football. I feel like the Eagles would have fared better if Wentz would have been in there. But you got to be precautionary in the offseason and understand like something like this could happen. Why? Because it has happened the last 2 years with Wentz.
All right, but they weren't. We had this discussion a year ago when they got bounced from the playoffs. They had to make a decision. It was either Wentz or Foles. We knew they couldn't keep them both. And Josh McCown's a guy that has played 17 years. He's won some games.
Hey, this ain't his fault. This game was bigger than Josh McCown. This is not his fault whatsoever. For a guy to get in there, not taking any reps with the ones, I don't know, for probably the rest of the whole season, and get in there and do what he did, man, my hat's off to him. I got love for him because you know why? He gave them a chance. He wasn't the reason that they lost. This defense in the secondary is the reason that they lost, and they've been vulnerable all year. Metcalf ate them for lunch.
You're right. Josh McCown, by the way.
For lunch today.
Just looking back, McCown threw 5 regular season passes and none since the month of September. So kudos to him for at least keeping the Eagles in a 1-score game. All right, let's move on to the other NFC tilt. Down in the Bayou, Sean Payton and the guys, they're going to get it done against Minnesota. Oh, he's playing nice with the refs. He wasn't so happy at the end of this one. Drew Brees, 15 touchdowns, no picks in the month of December, came in hot. Kirk Cousins looking for that first playoff win. Third quarter up 13-10, and then Dalvin Cook, such a difference maker, Prime.
Florida State. Where's he from? What you think? That's what we do.
On to the fourth. Saints are down 10. Breeze looking for Taysom Hill, who had a huge day. 2 catches for 25
Man, this kid right here, you got to figure out a way to get him more reps in the football game because he is a difference maker.
Yeah, well, this is the biggest play of the game. Breeze has his team almost in the red zone. He gets stripped, sacked, dropped, turnover. And he said after the game, I was looking basically for a hot route. The receiver wasn't ready for the ball. I had to hang on to it a little longer. Unfortunately for Saints fans, he didn't hang on to it long enough. But then another big play. Dalvin Cook gets spun down by A.J. Klein. Ball pops up. Von Bell returns it for the score, or did he? Every turnover and scoring play is reviewed, and you can clearly see Cook's left knee is down, so Minnesota retains possession. Now, the Saints did eventually get the ball. Drew Brees, with under a minute to go, down 3, 53 career game-winning drives. He's looking for Jared Cook. It took this offense a while, Prime, to get going, but they did in the last 15 minutes.
Yep, the last 15 minutes, they start getting going. It seems like when there's a sense of urgency, they're urgent. And they came through at the end, just trying to get the ball down the field slowly but surely.
Then some interesting play calling led to a 49-yard drive by Will Lutz to send it to overtime, and he is true. So just like the last time when these two teams played in the Bayou a decade ago in the NFC title game, we're headed to extra football. OT, Minnesota wins the toss. Kirk Cousins, here he is, giving it to Dalvin Cook, Deion.
Florida State, let me tell you something. That line was hungry, tenacious, flatbacks, low pads, and they ran hard. This play right here ended up costing the Saints this game.
Yeah, because
why? Because they had to insert another cornerback in.
That's right. Lattimore out, Patrick Robinson in, and a beautiful pass called by Troy Aikman. The greatest pass of Cousins' life to a healthy Adam Thielen, who had a 100-yard receiving day, gets it inside the 5, and then on 3rd and goal, Drew Brees is like, hey, stop him to a field goal. I'll get a chance. They couldn't. Kyle Rudolph up and over. And did he push off of P.J. Williams? They would give it a look, a quick one, and the booth said, nah, no need to stop it and give it another look, because that is a touchdown, a Vikings win. They are off to the Bay Area. Drew Brees is done at age 40 for another season. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings are moving on.
It's fun to be able to win and to feel like you're moving forward. But my journey has always been one of, like the book The Dream Giver, when you climb a mountain, you sit there at the top and you look around and you realize there's only more mountains to climb. And so, being a 4th-round pick and kind of working your way up in the league, now you win a playoff game, guess what? You look around and you realize there's more mountains to climb. You want to win another playoff game. You want to get to the Super Bowl someday. You want to win a world championship. So you just keep chasing the next mountain. And there'll always be people, who are going to criticize you, and that's okay.
You invest so much into it and have invested so much into it, and so you understand that these opportunities are few. So yeah, it's disappointing. If you're not the one holding up the trophy at the end of the year, it's disappointing.
You tip your hats to Minnesota that they deserve to win, and it's always difficult when it happens in the playoffs. There's no follow-up games, so you go from there.
Hey, that's how we've won all year, team, right? Yes, hey, you held them to 20 points, man. Yes, you gave us a chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
You feel good for him?
You know what? I love the most? I love the most that he had enough forethought that he didn't wear the jacket because he wanted us to see the overalls, the suspenders. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I like. Now this is my bone. I know this is not scripted. I didn't even tell you I was gonna go here, but I'm sick and tired of a team winning primarily because they won the coin toss. Oh. I don't like this, man. I don't. I really don't. Now, Minnesota won, fair and square. I love me some Mike Zimmer. We're going to see that shortly. But when you win the coin toss and the other team does not get to touch the ball, that's not fair. We got to see Drew Brees get a shot to touch it too, man. Let's just go to the way they do it in college, man. Get at the 45-yard line, unlike college, because the field goal kickers can kick it from 55 now. Right. And let's go. Let's land it up. Let's go. I want to see both teams touch the darn ball. That's not right. That's not right. Especially when I got a defense that's kind of shoddy, that's lethargic, that's not balling, and I don't like this. Okay, I don't like it whatsoever.
No, listen, you're not the first guy to bring up that gripe. We saw it last year in the AFC title game where Patrick Mahomes didn't get a bite at the apple and Tom Brady let him down the field and they scored and they ended up winning the Super Bowl a couple weeks later. So we get that. We understand that. But not a lot of people gave the Vikings, who were the 6th seed, a chance to win in the raucous dome down there. But you caught up with a guy who said, hey, we believe in ourselves, right?
Right. I did. And if you know one thing, you knew Mike Zimmer was not going to allow Thomas to beat them as a receiver and have 100 catches for 1,000 yards in one game. He was not going to do this. And I love him for it.
That's right. Here he is, Zim. Let's go. Primetime presented by Geico.
Hey, Zim, you are playing on the road. I don't quite trust your quarterback yet. So come on, man.
Yeah, well, you got to believe a little bit now.
I do. I've always believed. I tell you what I did say. I did say you were not going to allow Thomas to beat you.
Prime, we were pretty shorthanded in the secondary today, so we had to change up a bunch of coverages, have different looks. We had to do a lot of different things, and our guys really I didn't have anything to do with it. Our guys played their rear ends off.
You know Sean Payton like a book. He knows you, but you're able to overcome the exploits of Drew Brees, the running game of Kamara, and the big playability of Michael Thomas, man. That was exceptional.
Yeah, thank you. Really, Deion, the players played great today. It really had nothing to do with me. I'm just sitting there making calls. We made some plays, and, we had a lot of guys step up and play really well. Am I going to get a shirt?
You're not. Yeah, you know what? You're going to get a shirt. If you act right for the rest of this interview, if you behave correctly, you're going to get a shirt. See, you got a shirt. Now, tell me something. Did you at all think, hey, guys, if we kick a darn field goal right here, we got a funny feeling they're going to come down and put it in at home?
We played really good today on defense, so I was hoping that if we didn't get it, they had a long way to go. But we had a different play call. They zero blitzed us, and, Kirk saw it and went to something else.
What's up, Prime?
That's Kyle.
What's up, Kyle? What's up, big fella? Hey, great play, man.
You how to
great
dance.
play.
Thank you. Tell him I need to learn how to dance it, how he celebrates.
Yeah, he wants your touchdown dance, he said.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the Vikings are still dancing. They'll head out to San Francisco next week. By the way, right after Game Day Prime, we're going to re-air the Saints and Vikings right here on NFL Network, so stay tuned. By the way, I'm sure you saw this. Both 6 seeds won this weekend, much to the surprise of at least one person on this show.
They do what they do each and every week, and they will go to the Super Bowl. I said that. I ain't stuck.
Second and goal. Burkhead, and he's short.
I mean, all the teams that they could possibly play in the early rounds, they could beat them.
Third and goal. Michelle, they got him again.
That stop, that's the difference in the ball game right now.
I'm going to stay on the train and that defense.
Play action coming over to Henry. Henry takes the screen pass, and he's pushed out, I think, inside the 1.
Why would you think
still
I'm
on board?
Why wouldn't I be?
Tannehill, give Henry at left guard, second effort. Henry, touchdown, Titans!
All right, Deion, you've been on the train all year. I'm giving you one last chance. Final stop to get off the Patriots train.
I would not give up on the Super Bowl champions. They're still the Super Bowl champions until another team wins it.
We don't know if the final 15 seconds in the Patriots' career. Tom Brady, White to his right. Sanu in short motion with the right as Brady takes the snap. Drops back, fires underneath for Sanu. Ball's tipped, intercepted by Logan Ryan, who hops into the end zone. A pick 6. Was that to end it?
Boom! How you feel on that? You're loyal. I'll give you that. You're loyal.
You know what, man? I gave you guys 14 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and this is how you do me. All you producers, programmers, everybody's involved in this. I'm looking for all your heads right now. I can't believe y'all do me like this.
It's okay. No, you know what, though?
But you know what?
I'll give you
I
credit.
had to ride with Tom Brady and them to the end. I had to. I'm old school, not an old fool. I had to ride that horse till that horse can't kick no more. That's who I am.
The horse.
I'm gonna stay with you to the end. Now I'm off of it. Baltimore Ravens, let's go.
Hey, it only took you this long to the first week in January, but welcome aboard, baby.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away.
All
Ozzy,
right.
I'm back.
All right. So now everybody's wondering, what does the future hold for not only the New England Patriots, but their quarterback, Tom Brady? Bill Belichick played Meet the Press early on Sunday.
Whatever's in the future, we'll deal with at some later point in time. We're certainly not going to deal with it now. It's always a tough ending to the year, and we lost to a team that was a little better than us last night. Everybody's situation on the team is different. There are no two that are exactly the same. So, but the future is the future for all of them, just like it is for Tom and anybody else you want to bring up. And certainly Tom's, a iconic figure in this organization, and nobody respects Tom more than I do.
Just very grateful for, the experience of playing this year for this team, this organization, and over the course of my career too. So I appreciate it. I hope I've always tried to do the right thing out there, and who knows what the future holds. So we'll leave it at that.
Is there any possibility that you would retire after this last season?
I would say it's pretty unlikely, but yeah, hopefully unlikely.
Deion, answer this question. In 2020, Tom Brady is playing for the...
That's tough. Tom Brady is not going to retire unless I feel as though he's getting some type of ownership with the New England Patriots. I feel like that's the only way that he will walk away and retire. You think he wants to end on a pick six? You think he wants to end his heralded career, his Hall of Fame, his 100 greatest players of all time on a pick six?
No.
Come on, man.
I don't. So what?
No.
There aren't that many places I could see him going.
You don't allow Tom Brady to be a free agent. How can you even fathom that? How can you do that? First of all, he should have been the highest paid player by far. And he's not even that because he's accommodated this franchise in a plethora of ways. He deserves a lot more respect for that. He has a lot of football in him. But if he does go somewhere, you got to package him up with Edelman, man. That's just like Jordan and Pippen. I don't want to see Pippen without Jordan. I don't want to see Jordan without Pippen. I don't want to see Edelman without Brady. I want to see Brady without Edelman. I don't want to see it.
And throw Josh McDaniels while you're at it, too.
Somewhere.
Hey, all right, 10 seconds. Is he playing for the Patriots next year, yes or no? What's your gut tell you?
I pray so. Okay. I feel as though they have one last hurrah.
I agree with you.
I feel as though.
I think he stays one more year. I think they'll eventually work it out. I can tell you this, Jason Garrett will not be in the same place he was in 2019. Dallas Cowboys announced on Sunday during the Eagles playoff game, by the way, they are moving on from the man who has led them since midway through the 2010 season. For more on this, what it means for Garrett, and more importantly, the future of the Cowboys, we bring in Ian Rappaport. All right, finally, we have some answers in this, we think, because it was a strange last few days with Mike McCarthy and Marvin Lewis in the building and Jason Garrett still politicking for his job. Where are we right now with this, Ian?
Reality is, Chris, we're in the same place we were 6 days ago. Everyone has known that Jason Garrett was not going to be the Cowboys coach in 2020 as soon as it was clear that they were not going to win the NFC East, we're not going to go to the playoffs, and certainly we're not going to go deep into the playoffs, which Jason Garrett needed to do to keep his job. It has been evident and clear that he was going to be out. He met with the Jones family on Monday, met with the Jones family on Tuesday. There was no announcement. They went to Aspen, hung out for a little bit. Meanwhile, when they came back, the Cowboys began their coaching search. They interviewed Marvin Lewis, the former Bengals coach. Then they spent a couple days with Mike McCarthy, the former Packers coach, who did such a good job in creating the Aaron Rodgers that we all see today. There was nothing official on Jason Garrett, but it was obvious they were moving on because they were interviewing other coaches to take his job. All that was left was to officially and finally inform Garrett they were cutting ties with him today rather than wait till January 14th. And perhaps in part because the reports came out of who they were interviewing, the Cowboys now officially announced, Jerry Jones did, that they were not going to renew his contract. Jones, of course, thanking him for everything he did to the Cowboys, discussing what he represents for the organization, and officially and mercifully moving on.
Real quickly, Lincoln Riley, Urban Meyer. I mean, Deion said they're going for big fish. Do you agree?
I do agree. And Lincoln Riley certainly is a name that I would keep in mind. From what I expect, the Cowboys are going to take his temperature and see if this is a coach who'd be willing to leave one of the best jobs in college football for one of the best jobs in the NFL. And, I talked to people close to Lincoln Riley. They are not quite sure that he would leave for the NFL, even though it is the Cowboys. But as you know, Jerry Jones can be quite a salesman. They could theoretically, based on the interviews they've done, hire him at any point. I would expect the Cowboys to go down that route and just see if Lincoln Riley is interested and proceed from there.
All right, Ian Rappaport, thank you very much for the insight. Let's move down to Big D, where Jane Slater's been on the beat for the last week or so on a very strange 7 days down there in the Metroplex area. Jane, what's the latest with you?
Well, I woke up from a nap from all the news. Certainly wasn't expecting this. I don't think a lot of fans were either. I mean, we expected that they were, as Ian had said, that they were likely moving on from him. The writing was on the wall this week when he was telling players, goodbye in that meeting, essentially. One player had told me last week it felt like he was saying goodbye without actually saying it. And then we all thought it was incredibly curious that he continued to show up to work and that he hadn't completed some of these exit interviews. He had even characterized things as if we want you back next year. And so for those of us that are sort of getting the temperature inside the building, there were mixed messages. Was there a possibility that Jerry Jones can hang on to him? The sense that we were all getting was that Jerry was perhaps getting cold feet on a decision that they had likely made weeks ago. So now that this is officially done and we're hearing word that they're now reaching out to these other coaches and bringing them in the building, It certainly is now opening up the next chapter here in Dallas, one that is, as Ian just said, I mean, they're mercifully letting him go at this point. And, I thought it was interesting, too. I've seen some of the responses from players on Twitter, them talking about their respect for the coach, the way that he would believe in them. That is why I've argued and maintained that he's had his job as long as he has in Dallas, despite some of that postseason success. The players love this guy. I talked to at least one coach tonight who heard from Jason Garrett. He finally reached out to them and, essentially confirmed the news. But it's unfortunate. I think it's been hard to cover this just because you get to know Jason Garrett and you know how well he was liked in the locker room. And it was hard to watch this thing. It felt like a really slow death. At least now he can move on and perhaps go interview for that job with the Giants after hearing about their interest in him a couple of weeks ago, originally reported by my colleague Ian Rappaport.
Jane Slater, thanks very much for the insight. You are officially off of Jason Garrett watch in 2020.
Now Coach watch.
8 yards out. Houston a winner. And they are on to the divisional round. Deshaun Watson gets his first win thanks to a heroic play in overtime.
Honestly, it was the biggest thing was the right side. I think it was Rod. Once I breaking the tackles, I knew I was going to do that, honestly. I mean, I just know I wasn't going down. That's just my mentality. You won't have to really force me down to the ground. That's just me, especially in that situation. So once I split out, they kept blocking for me, and they gave me a half a second to kind of readjust my eyes and my helmet a little bit to find Taiwan, and that's what I did. And he made a heck of a play to get us down inside the 10, so it was good.
Next stop, Kansas City. That's coming your way Sunday afternoon on CBS. Of course, the number 1 seed, the Baltimore Ravens, will get things going in the AFC Divisional round Saturday night when they play host to the 6th-seeded Tennessee Titans, also on CBS. By the way, that Texans-Chiefs game is a replay from their Week 6 contest at Arrowhead. Mahomes, Watson getting it going. First quarter, Patrick Mahomes looking for Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 21, no less, and just throwing it up between a few defenders. And number 10 gets it for 6. That was awesome. On to the 4th. The Texans were down 1, sniffing the goal line, and Watson had one of his 2 rushing touchdowns right here. They ran for 192 on the day, held the ball for almost 40 minutes, and neutralized Patrick Mahomes and that high-powered Chiefs offense, winning at 31-24. But this is a very different Chiefs team, primarily on the defensive side of the football. What sort of chance do you give Watson and the Texans looking ahead?
I give them a real chance. They almost had it there once before earlier in the season, and they can implement the same game plan. I'm pretty darn certain that they are going to implement the same game plan, desiring to run the ball, controlling the clock, keeping that high-powered offense off the field. But let me tell you something. This is a different Chiefs defense. This is not the defense of old. These guys have been getting to the passer. They've been playing ball on the back end. Tyrann Mathieu, he's all pro once again, heading up that back end. Let me tell you something, man. These guys can get it done. This is not just an offensive football team that we've often thought about the Kansas City Chiefs. These guys can play this game at a high level, even on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be phenomenal. DeAndre Hopkins, that's the only problem. I don't see an answer for that. I don't see an answer to that whatsoever. You're going to have to double him. Now you're dealing with a light box, and that's where the running game is prevalent for the Houston Texans.
By the way, yesterday they fell behind 16-0 because Buffalo was kicking field goals. Kansas City Chiefs do not kick field goals, so Houston's going to have to come out with a game plan and execute in the first 15, 30 minutes of this game, or it could be blowout city at Arrowhead. All right, moving on from Jason Garrett. His contract was due to expire on January 14th, so they will find a new leader. Garrett has been in charge since midway through the 2010 season. For more on this, we welcome in Jason Garrett's former teammate down there with the Dallas Cowboys, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a Hall of Famer, Michael Irvin. All right, Mike, Deion Sanders says Jason Garrett isn't to blame, it's the players. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think there's certainly some culpability to go around there. You know, coaches do coach and players have to play. But we see all the time, too, players rising above coaching and sometimes players just not getting it done. And I like to place that blame on everybody. Bringing in somebody is one thing. getting the most out of these players, that's another thing. And whoever they bring in, he has to not just be an X and O guy, I think a motivator to get these guys motivated to bring out their skill set and talents.
All right. We know that they've interviewed Mike McCarthy. They've interviewed Marvin Lewis. Those guys both have more than 10 years experience as an NFL head coach. Do you go that route or with somebody else out there, Michael?
And you know, when people ask a question like that, Chris, really, I have to be in the room. I have to hear these guys. I know when you got guys that have a track record, that's one thing. But I want to know what guy can reach down in kids and pull out kings, not just a guy that can tell me how to draw up an out route or a deep end route. I need to know that you can do more, because I think that's what that Dallas Cowboys team They need more. Join up things that fit their skill set. I call it a Golden State or a Kerr situation. Steve Kerr had all the talent there. He just put up the right things to bring the best out of that talent. I think the Dallas Cowboys have a similar situation that like that for a Kerr situation. They got to bring the right person in, but they have all the talent here.
So I see. You're saying that Jason Garrett is the Mark Jackson and somebody else unknown is the Steve Kerr. We'll see if that works out or not. Hall of Famer, thank you very much for the time.
Okay, now I'm going to be waiting on a call from Coach Garrett or Mark Jackson, since you had to lay that out like that. You know what I'm saying? But something like that is what I would say.
I got it. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Good talking.
Eagles have talent. It's just all injured. Carson Wentz playing his first playoff game. He threw 3 passes, done after this hit by Jadeveon Clowney, who would finish out that series, go into the blue tent, and eventually the locker room, leave with a head injury. Third quarter, Seattle up 10-6. Russell Wilson to the rookie DK Metcalf uses every inch of that frame to haul it in, get up, and get into the end zone. 7 snags for a rookie record in the Super Bowl era, 160 playoff receiving yards. Now in the fourth, Josh McCown, who had to come in for the injured Wentz, on 4th and 7, trying to tie this thing up with a touchdown and 2-point conversion, gets sacked instead. Eagles' season is over. Seahawks are moving on to Green Bay.
This was a really good accomplishment for our guys. You know, we've come off a season of playing really well on the road, and having played well here too. To get back and get do it again. And I know there's a lot of talk, how do you do that stuff again, but we did. Matter of fact, the score was even the same, I think. It's a really big accomplishment, Yeah, and of course, you get to advance, and you're talking about surviving. We're just fired up to have another chance to keep playing football and keep pushing it, and see how far we can go.
I'm disappointed, for him, because I wanted this for him, obviously, and I think a lot of his teammates did too, and the organization did. I mean, he's battled through a lot, but we'll learn from it. We'll move on.
You were expected. Is this a different game if Carson's healthy?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I would say yes. If he's healthy, with the game plan that we had, I think so. But it's hard to speculate.
So with Wentz out, Josh McCown, 40 years old, making his playoff debut as a player, overcome with emotion, being consoled by his teammate Zach Ertz. I mean, Deion, none of us as football fans can understand what a guy like this is going through. What is that like?
That's like, guys, I just wish I would have been a little more prepared. I wish I would have known this opportunity was coming. I would have given it a little more. Hey, that's just the competitor in this kid. Let me tell you something, man. I don't care how old he is. He played his butt off. He did the best he darn could without reps with the first team, without timing with the first team, without running plays with the first team. He played his butt off, man. I'm proud of him. And I got love for Ertz, man, for just being there for him. That's what this game is about, those type of relationships that you would never forget right there.
And you know what? Let's give a big pat on the back to Doug Peterson and the entire Eagles organization. A lot of teams would have crumbled. A lot of teams would not have finished 9-7, would not have won the NFC East. I know we made our jokes about the division all season long, but look at the talent they lost, especially on the offensive side of the football. Yeah. No Lane Johnson, their Pro Bowl right tackle. Alshon Jeffrey, they've been without Deshaun Jackson for months. Zach Ertz went out there with a broken rib and played. And I get it, injuries are a part of the game, but usually you don't have this many stacked upon. one another, Deion.
Right. And they did a wonderful job. Hats off to the entire organization.
Yeah.
They really played well, and they almost pulled that out today. They really did.
And kudos to the Seattle Seahawks as well, because they were missing a couple of offensive linemen as well. We'll see if they are going to be healthy in time for their game next Sunday at Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. That'll wrap up divisional play weekend. Well, your answer should be not Jason Garrett, because the team announced on Sunday during the Eagles playoff game, no less, they will not extend the contract of Garrett. His deal was set to expire on January 14th. He is out after taking over the team midway through the 2010 season. What sort of impression did he leave on his players? Ask Antoine Woods Sr., who said, after coming from a place where I was labeled as a, quote, practice squad player, Coach Garrett told me I was the right guy for the team and is what this team is all about. They needed me. For that, I'm forever grateful. Thanks, Coach. Nice sentiment from Antoine Woods Sr. Next stop, divisional round playoffs. Saturday night in the Charm City, the 1 seed, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tennessee Titans, and they're looking for a way to stop Derrick Henry. Not so easy, but our Hall of Famer, primetime Deion Sanders, did.
Big fella, that was a heck of a birthday, man. That was a heck of a birthday yesterday.
Appreciate it.
Is that everything you wanted for your birthday? What else could you possibly get besides 34 for $1.82?
That was all. That's all we needed. As long as we got that W, I was happy, no matter how it went.
When I analyze this game, I'm thinking there's no way they could go up there and beat Tom Brady them. And Tom Brady could possibly be his last game. But you were so adamant in your post-game presses about you guys really believe, man.
Yeah, we definitely did. We knew, everybody was going to possibly write us off. Nobody expected us to do anything, because, it's hard to win, in Foxborough, when they're at home and they're a different team in the playoffs. So we just knew, as long as we stayed focused on what we talked about all week and, executing our plan that we had in, that, everything will fall in line like we wanted it to.
It's no way no one could have told me, man, this dude was going to put 180 up on the Patriots. But you did it, man, and your line was so darn aggressive and physical.
Yeah, well, I think it was just the want to, being physical and, beating the man in front of you. And I know I had to be efficient all night, to really give us a chance, to, be in a position to win a game, because we definitely wanted to establish a run and we wanted to establish it early. So that was my mindset, just, make one-cut runs, play physical, and finish forward.
Well, happy birthday, my brother. I'm proud of you, man. Keep on doing your thing. God bless you.
Appreciate your pride. Thank you, man. Same to you.
Time for more on the road to the Super Bowl, presented by Mercedes-Benz. All right, Deion, one thing to win up in Foxborough, I get it, the mystique of the Patriots, but now they've got a huge challenge trying to stop Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. They average 33 points a game. I mean, you're not going to hold them to 13 or 14 points next week, are you?
You never know. This is why. Lamar Jackson had week 17 off. Lamar Jackson had this week off. You don't let a dog rest like that. You don't just sit a Lamborghini, man, in the garage like that. You got to keep that thing running. He could be a bit rusty, but he makes this whole offense go. Now, if you could run the ball effectively, like they just did, and keep him off the field, that would pay dividends. But
And it was just
Classy Josh McCown, who at 40 years old made his playoff debut, but it wasn't enough on Sunday. Seahawks a winner. They will take on Green Bay. The early game, the Vikings and the Niners. We saw what Kirk Cousins did, getting that first playoff win, Deion Sanders. Are you all focused on Jimmy Garoppolo, what he'll do in his first postseason start next Saturday?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. Man, I can't wait to see this whole team. Richard Sherman, all the guys, man. This team here is playing on high cylinders, man. I mean, offensively, defensively. Is there an answer for Kittle in the whole darn NFL? Is there an answer for him? Coach Zimmer is going to have to figure out a way to deal with Kittle. That's the guy. Both of these teams can run the ball really effectively, but you got to be able to account for Kittle.
Well, hopefully divisional play weekend is as good as wild card weekend. For the first time since 1991, every game was decided by one score. All right.